because he encourages his teacher trainees who are becoming, English teachers, to actively create Machinima, actively be in world. And he's been doing so as a pioneer in Turkey for already a long time. So join me in a big round of applause and pass over to Tuncer. Looking forward to his talk.
Wow, that was longer than my presentation, Heike. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for this very long presentation, which really humbled me. And right now I would like to start talking about how we are training teachers within virtual worlds and what is our experience. And I would like to inspire perhaps some of the teacher trainers, if we have people around us, to do more on virtual worlds. Because I have always been astonished by the fact that there are many people coming into schools, teachers, who are really not knowing about the potential of virtual worlds. And I would really appreciate if people keep coming into these worlds and use this environment for more activities and different types of trainings for teachers, because this is a very promising environment, which I have been using for quite some time, like Heike suggested. And I have been very happy, and I have a great feedback from my own students, and then the teachers after they go into the schools, and when they start using these environments with their students, there is a great feedback from them as well. I would like to first start by telling you a little bit about myself. This is the university in Istanbul. This is called Istanbul University, the place that I am teaching right now, but in a couple of months we will have to relocate to another place. But anyway, this is where I'm teaching right now, and this is the main triumphal arc and the triumphal that we have in our university. This is a symbol of universities in our country. So the outline of our experience within virtual worlds and with teachers is here, and then I'm going to talk about our experience in the Istanbul University virtual campus, activities we did there with our teachers, and the feedback we got from them. And afterwards, I will talk about another activity that we did with our teachers, which is the Erasmus Island that we created, since we are very much involved in European Union projects, and we continue doing those, and we would like to continue doing those. And this environment really brings us a lot of opportunities on the European level as well. And we just wanted to give a little bit back to Erasmus program, and we create an Erasmus Island, and I'll be talking about this as well. Then we will talk. I will talk about Istanbul University activities on virtual worlds, which we have a lot of things to share with you today. And then, if you want to learn more about what we are doing, we were with Dragster on the World Maker series, and this is the 44th series that he created for us. He came, stayed with us for 3 days, and he observed our activities, and then you can watch it on Second Life website. And then I wouldn't talk about that much, but if you want to see us personally, what we are doing, our activities in 5 minutes, just go ahead and look through that. Then I would like to also talk about how CAMELOT project, the EU Lifelong Learning project, contributed to the way I am teaching, and contribute to the lives of my own teachers, the teachers who came to our university, graduated from there, and afterwards got real jobs, and what feedback they got from their schools, students, and I would like to share this with you as well. Then I will also talk, lastly, about our Erasmus Plus program that we are doing right now with Heike and many other people, wonderful people, the GUINEVERE project, where we are exploring more of virtual worlds and gaming, and how these environments can help kids learn languages through game design and also making those games for their students. So this is basically what I'm going to talk about today. I already presented the abstract, basically how our activities helped us, and now this is our experience within virtual worlds. What we first created was the triumphal gate that we have at the university, because we wanted to represent our university in world, first of all. And we also designed the rectorate building and the fire tower, a very famous fire tower in Istanbul. And if any tourist wants to visit Istanbul, they're coming and seeing this tower and looking through the city. And you can also see it in Dragster's series as well. After we created those objects in 3D, we transferred them to Second Life, and we created our own sim, Istanbul University. And then this is how it looks now. So like you see, first I showed you our real picture, and now this is the Second Life. Almost no difference, and it's really great monument that's in the in-world, and people coming visiting, and our students are getting a lot of giving a lot of positive feedback, because they feel like their university is becoming like universal. Because in Turkey, in our country, we are like a little bit away from Europe, a little bit away from everywhere, let's say, US, and so when they go into this world, their school is represented, they really feel proud about this, and they're really motivated about doing activities in this world. And we are really proud of this OpenSim, this Second Life space, and then we are doing all our activities. Now I'd like to show you some pictures from our place, where we are doing a lot of activities with our students, teachers to be. These are all people who are going to become English teachers, and they learn about the potential of this environment and how they can use those with their students in the future while they're teaching the language, English language specifically. In the first picture, you see this is the Istanbul University sim, and then you see my evolution as well. That was my first picture taken in this campus when we built it. Very proud about that. And you see on the third picture our students filling in the space. We are very proud, because each year I have 80 students who are going into our sim, and then learning about this environment and creating machinimas, creating other activities. Right now, because of our new project, they're creating more games and these kind of activities right now. So see our students. We are doing some classes with them, initial classes, like you see. And on the fourth picture, what you're seeing is the Faculty of Education, which is nothing like that in the real world, all rusty, not a beautiful place, but you change this way of looking in the eyes of your students, because they see something very contemporary, beautiful, and digital as well, because this is a virtual, but this is how it attracts them as well. So in the fourth picture, what you see is our auditorium, where we are doing some classes, where I'm asking them to do presentations, not only me, because I want them to get involved into these worlds and become doers and become makers, and then create their own space in this environment. In the next picture, what you're seeing is perhaps one and only. This is our Istanbul University Faculty of Education English Language Teaching Department studio. This is a radio and television building that we possess, and perhaps in no other school I've never heard, especially in the faculties of education. This has never been done, but our students, because of the Second Life and because of the virtual worlds and the opportunities that we have in there, what they're doing is they're doing programs. They have the chance to present their own programs. They share information. They share presentations. They share information about their school, about their activities at school. And we have a regular radio and television building, which is virtual. Of course, it's not real, but the students really like to do activities in here. They're doing their own programs, like I said, sometimes educational, sometimes they just have fun in there. And you can also follow that on Facebook. We have Istanbul University Faculty of Education, radio and television channel as well. You can watch the things that they're doing on Facebook, and that's what it is. So like I said, we do a lot of things since we have this opportunity here. Where did we start though? We first started in EduNations. We started with Heike and Randall. We had a very small space, only one building, basically, with one class. This is where we started, and you can see our evolution. This is all on our channels, so you can just see what we have been doing since then. 2012, I guess, and it's been a long time since we have been involved into this world. So. Istanbul University Erasmus Island. We wanted to give a little bit back to what we have been earning from Erasmus, basically, and the money that we are earning in our day rates or whatever, this all goes back into this investment, if you like. We have designed the second sim. We paid for it. We paid for 2-3 years, and then we expected Erasmus students who are interested in studying in Istanbul University. And through this program, in 2015, this is when we did it, we had around 500 students visiting Istanbul University on Erasmus grants. And at that time, this was the idea that we wanted to hook these people with students from Istanbul University, and these students at the Istanbul University would just help them around the city, and so just the tandem friendship stuff, and meet before they come to Istanbul, meet in this space virtually, and they become friends, and then they learn about the culture, they learn about Istanbul University, they learn about many other things. And luckily, in the first year in 2015, when we set this up, we had 25 students who wanted to learn Turkish, survival Turkish, in this environment. And some of my students were involved with this, and then they gave them tandem lessons in Turkish, survival Turkish, in this environment. 25 students, not a bad start at that time. But unfortunately, after 2015, what happens, politically, and everyone sees that the Syrian conflict and everything. Because of this, the appeal to our university has dropped to around 150 students or something. So we don't have that much appeal anymore. But we still keep the island. It's still there. It's still visible. You can see it. So what is in the island? Basically, you see the Istanbul University Erasmus office, which is actually looking like the real thing that is in our university. The students can get there, and when they get into this environment, what happens is they see what they can do before they come to Istanbul. They see what they can do during their stay in Istanbul University, and then after, what they need to do after. There is a lot of information. There are a lot of forms that they can hook to, and then they can just download them, find their teachers' telephone numbers, everything around the university. We put all the information there. And what we have on the left side, this is the picture on the left, up left. This is the picture of the student club, that is Erasmus Student Club, that welcomes Erasmus students from Europe, and then they become friends. They do a lot of activities together, like visiting historical places, visiting other cities. So there are like weekly activities for Erasmus students around our university, and then they organize this. And we created a space for them as well, because we wanted these students to become friends with the European students, and then the European students would get a softer access to the country, to the university, because it's very difficult, and we are very much aware of that. So this is what we did in the Erasmus Islands. Language education a little bit, and like I said, mostly tandem friendship activities, so that they can become friends with people. And this is helping our students as well, the teachers, because they can speak in English. Practice is a great issue. and then they can become real friends with real people, European, and being away from the center. This helps our students a little bit to feel like they're universal, and they're in the business as well. So the other activities that we did throughout these like 4 or 5 years so far is number one, the Machinima project, which actually came out from the CAMELOT project. But I'll be talking about this CAMELOT project, give you a little bit of information about this. And the second one is language practice, which is the language part where we are teaching the Turkish learners Italian. And a wonderful friend, an Italian friend, helped us here, and then she set up this and was really very much of help to us. But it also helped us with the design and everything of this, and this is still visible on our sim. And then we moved to the next phase of our work, because we also attracted some MA students, master's degree students, who wanted to do their master's degrees on virtual worlds. And one of these is the coordinate system robot game, to teach 7th grade learners the coordinate system. And a maths teacher just came in, and he said, in the education department, he said, I want to do this. You have the space. Could you help me? And we became his advisor. And then he successfully defended his thesis, did this, and it is also visible, and I can show you the pictures in a minute. And then we had another game, again based on another MA, that's the Snow Dogs, and I'll talk about this as well, give you more examples. And the last one is in the an MA in social sciences, which is a climate planet, and I'll give you these in a minute. The first one, like I said, Machinima. I use the Machinima in my drama class, because you know how things happen in the drama class. It's generally about reading the general texts about drama, doing a little bit of role plays, and then creating a little bit of scenarios and this and that. What I did with this Machinima project, and I've been doing this since 2014, I guess. It's been like 4 or 5 years now. Each year, I'm having these students, 80 of them, pre-service English language teachers. They come to my class, and I always start my class with, this is an award-winning class. How come? A lesson like a drama, how can it be award-winning? Yes, I'm winning awards. I'm not winning awards. My students are winning awards with the activity that they're doing there, because in 2015 and 16, they applied to many small competitions, the short movie competitions, animation competitions, lots of things, and they win. I mean, because this is contemporary, to be able to incorporate the virtual worlds into your language teaching drama class, and then to write your lesson plans based on that. And this is a really a winner. And I have a lot of students who, when they go to their schools and they start doing this with their students, which is, what is Machinima, right? You have your avatars, you have your space, and then you shoot your movies, you speak in English, and then you can use all of these Machinima in your classes with your students. They can think creatively, you can give input, you can do lots of things with this. And what happens in the end of the day is the students are extremely happy, the family extremely happy, and what happens is, of course, my teachers are becoming the heroes in their classrooms, are becoming heroes in their schools. How do we know that this is true? It is true because they are offered higher salaries. This is what I'm getting as a feedback from them, and because coming back and saying, hey, thank you, we did this in our class, and right now I'm earning a lot more than my friends because I can do, and I have a different scope, and I know to do different things than the regular teachers with a course book, and that's it. And another thing that this lesson brought to us, and that's why I call it award-winning, 2 Fulbright grants. 2 of my students, 2016, 2017, applied for Fulbright grant, and in their interview, they when they talk about this virtual worlds, when they talk about that they know how to create materials, Machinima, and this and that, they were granted 2 years in a row 2 Fulbright programs where they went to universities in US, one in Madison University, the second was Washington University, and then they stayed there as foreign language teaching assistants, and this was a great success for me, and of course for my students as well, because when they came back and said, hey, we got that because of this lesson, because of in the interview, we talked about this, and then you see how self-confident they are becoming, and you see how the things that it brings to them, to their lives. So it makes difference in these, small people then becoming real teachers and becoming harmonious and also active participants in their society. So we really like this, and that's why I always start with award-winning class. If you want to change your life, do this, because then you can really become something. You can get your, and I think this experience is the thing that brought me today here, right? So this is another proof that this works. I mean, these kind of activities work. The virtual worlds work, and this really brings a lot of difference to humans' lives, I would argue. And the second activity, linked to that, we are hosting all the creations of my students in this teacheranima.com space, where you can go and see the machinima that my students are creating. You can see their work. You can see the brilliant things that they create, and the lesson plans as well, with which other teachers can work. And you see, these people are contributing into the field with material design, and also these are, like it is said, like it is seen, like we said, they're ad hoc, they are teachers prepared, and they of course work for the teachers who really can do these type of activities. So this is, Teacher. We are hosting it just a couple of dollars to keep it alive, but it's okay, because it's, like I said, we earn some money from European Union projects, we give it back to education, to our students, and it helps in these environments. The second thing that we did on our sim was the language part, where we taught Italian to the Italian department students in Turkey, because these are Turkish students who need to learn Italian and become Italian teachers or become translators or something like that. And these people wouldn't have any link to Italian culture in Istanbul, because there is simply no activity in Italian, just an Italian culture center, and that's it. So these students hooked up with Italian partners from Napoli University, and then they were able to converse with them, to talk with them, do activities online. And actually, what this project brought to one of the participants is she had a book written on virtual worlds in Italian. How about that? Because she was very much involved with this project, this teacher, and then she wrote her own book in Italian of how to use virtual worlds to teach Italian. And I think this is this impact of this project and the virtual worlds is immense. This is what I believe, that it really contributes to the society, to the field, to people, to real people. And then, like you see, it's a small thing, perhaps. It looks like a small thing, but it changed the life of a person. And now she's becoming almost a full professor with this experience, and then this and that. So a little bit of examples here for these kind of people. Yeah, this is the small thing that she did. It's a small thing, but a huge thing for other people, because they were learning Italian through this experience. And like I said, the MA studies that we have been doing with our students, these are, one of these is this coordinate system robot. So why coordinate system, and why this idea merged with virtual worlds? It was because, first of all, when the teacher, the math teacher who came and told us about this idea that he wants to do this and that, and we of course helped him with setting up and everything, he was talking about that in the coordinate system, they would usually teach about X, Y, and Z, but had only in the classrooms opportunity to do X and Y, but no Z dimension at all. And this, the students cannot just imagine about that, but they should basically see it, touch it, and do that. And so what happens is we can create X, Y, and Z in 3D virtual worlds, because this is 3D anyway. And 3D, the idea of 3D is X, Y, and Z. So he basically reflected this idea into the virtual world. He created a game, and then we helped him with the space. We helped him with the advising of his thesis, and then this is the end result. So right here, what you see is the robot who actually asks you and gives you a task to do, and you see there are two shapes which you can basically touch, and when you touch them, these shapes are going into this X, Y, and Z axis, and in this axis they can move. You can move them, like you see there are the controllers, and then what you see is, yeah, this is the P robot, that's right. And what happens is these the students can touch them. And what happens with these 7th graders is, because we set up like 10 of those robots in different areas where a single student can play with and practice this the whole axis and the coordinate system. In the end of the day, when these students came in, the results were great. Even the worst student in the class who was not interested in maths, he was crazy about playing with the robot and doing activities the robot was telling him, and he was crazy about, and in the end of the day, in the exam results, they all went up. Even the worst ones went up because they really understood what the coordinate system is. They touched it, they played with it. So this is how it really concretely gave them the idea of this abstract phenomenon, the coordinate system. So this is a great success, a great thesis, and the only thing is it is in Turkish, of course, so it's not very possible to read that. But I believe it was presented in a couple of places, and perhaps it has an English, but I'm not sure about this, the English summary of this study. But anyway, it is there. This is playable. You can still play with this. And also what we did, because I'm in the English language teaching department, what I did was I translated all of this into English. Why? Because what I wanted to do with my students is give them the idea of CLIL, the content and language integrated learning. Because since the students learned how to play with this in Turkish, they understood the concept in Turkish, everything was in Turkish, and then I asked them to play with this idea in English. And my students were crazy about this, because when the students know about the concept virtually, and then they translate this into English, and afterwards they play this in English, and of course language acquisition is ensured as well. And this is how we translated all the games with my students, English teachers, into English, so that we know and learn about an activity about the CLIL concept. And so virtual worlds really work with this concept as well. I find this relevant. The next one is the snow dogs. Again, another MA, another great idea. At this time, what we are doing with these snow dogs, because you know the snow dogs, what are they? In very difficult times, you need them, and then to move around the pole and something. We linked this idea of snow dogs to the fractions in the 5th grade. And then what happens here is, let me just show that. There is a slate, there are dogs, and then you have to, and then you see that there are the fractions, the number of fractions. You have to put the fractions in order from the biggest one to the smaller one. So you understand this abstract concept, and this is more concrete way of understanding the strong dog, the big fraction versus the not so strong one, and then the least strong one. And so this is how you put and order the idea of fractions. And then the students, even my kid, he was at the 3rd grade at that time. This was a 5th grade topic in the curriculum in Turkey. Even he was playing with this game, and then he understood the idea that 1 above 15 is different than 1 above 30. You see, and then he was like, oh yeah, because this is less, this should be bigger because this is a lot, and then this should be less. So 150, 130. So he was really eager to play, and then even he understood the concept, just because it was a concept linked to a real life, but not like teaching mathematics. And if you go and see this game, which is still relevant, it is translated into English for my students, English language teachers, and then they go and study these there are small games attached to this as well, where they can, they have logs, they have a watermelon that they can cut into pieces from 1 to 10, and so you understand what is half, and then you understand what is quarter, you understand what is 1/10, 1/3. So small games attached to that as well. But virtual worlds really worked in this context as well. And like I said, even for smaller kids, this worked in our context. The next game that we created in this environment, another MA attached to social sciences this time, was the Climate Planet. The Climate Planet, it is called the Climate Planet because we created a small garden where we have the plantation, where we have different, pictures of, the crops that are growing in this area. We have the 7 geographical regions in Turkey, and then we are teaching the 5th graders, 4th graders, the geographical regions in social sciences class, where they have to learn about the climate, where they have to learn about the plantation, and then they have to learn about what economical activities are there in this environment. So what happens is the students come in here, they play with those questions, and the questions are like, what is the climate during winter in Black Sea region, for example, and then they have to know that it's rainy. And then they have to know that, corn and tea is the basic activity there, the economical activity, and the plantation is like forest because of the rains and stuff. So they make these mathematics with this game. And what happens is when they click on the rain, in the garden, it starts raining. When they click on the forest, immediately you get the result like the forest is, the whole garden turns into a forest. So it was a great game for these kids, and they played it. What we did, we of course again translated into English. So once they learn the Black Sea region in Turkish, and then they learn in English as well. So it was a huge thing for these kids as well, because they knew how to play the game, and so they knew what Black Sea is. They knew the plantation. They learned vocabulary. So they really had fun learning with this. But like I said, my teachers went into translating it for the CLIL purposes. And then it was a great activity as well for us. And of course, a successful MA defense. And right now it is, but like I said, this is again in Turkish, it is not in English. So, but I'm not sure if they have a summary in English. Most probably they would have. But like I said, it was like 2 years ago. So I don't have the track of it right now. But these are the activities that we have been doing so far in this environment. And this is where it all started, basically. This is the CAMELOT project, which basically gave us the strength to learn about virtual worlds. And this is the thing that really put us and pushed us into doing what we are doing. And this is the project, I think, which brought us here. And this was the project where we started working with Heike as well. And this was the opportunity for us to go to feel that we can become part of the virtual worlds, and then we can do actual things on virtual worlds. So anyway, and what is the CAMELOT project about? CAMELOT project was because it was on between 2013 and 15. It was the extension of the university, because what they did in the previous projects related to virtual worlds, they did research on virtual worlds, how these virtual worlds could be used for educational purposes. They were also doing teacher training courses, and to teach the real teachers of the opportunities of those. And this is how the first project ended, the first EU project ended. The second one, this was the CAMELOT, the extension. And in the CAMELOT project, what we did was we wanted to see how teachers create machinima, basically, which is create moving pictures, and then they create them for their own purposes, and not being at the mercy of the book sellers and the people who live in and stay in Spain and then just write some materials and which would not suit the context of your own classroom. But then sit down, you have the free tool, virtual worlds, you sit down and then you create and take the initiative and you create your own materials for your own students. And then what happens is, if you can do that, your students are coming in and they also start creating and they also start becoming active in your lessons, and then learning a language becomes like a real thing, but it's not just a transcription of books, course books, and workbooks. So it is becoming more lively. And also after this experience, I was able to sit down and create my drama class, doing a lot of Machinima. I was also doing a lot of presentations in Turkey and outside Turkey, and I really got the impression that people really need to and can really use these environments for material design as well. We looked at how this helps with, if you look at the teacheranima.com, you can see the lesson plans of our students who create Machinima, and there you can see that they can use the Machinima for content for writing, content for critical thinking, and producing language in the form of speaking by getting a lot of valuable vocabulary, ideas from these by watching the Machinima and then transferring the information from the Machinima into their real language skills. And it was an amazing thing, an amazing experience for me as well. And like I said, this was the thing that put us into this business basically, and helped us do more with my students as well in this context. And I also met a lot of fabulous people through this project, and this is the link through this still continues, because European Union projects, becoming a team in a European Union project is really very important. And once you become friends and once you become people who work together, then you're able to create more than your own thing, and the impact is bigger than what you think it is. So basically, this is why CAMELOT project really helped us do a lot. And what I would like to do now is to go with the next project that we are doing right now. This time it is an Erasmus Plus K2 project. It is called GUINEVERE. As you can see, this is the extension of the Machinima idea in the CAMELOT project. Here again, we work with almost the same team, but this time the idea is to be able to use the virtual worlds for gaming, and also for game design, and also for teacher training, where when the teachers are learning about game design, where the teachers are learning about how to create games and how to link the games to language outcomes and language skills, and then they become a real hit for their students as well. Right now, we are in the last year of this project. So far, we have created the literature review. We have looked into how games and virtual worlds can be linked together. We looked at how these games can motivate the students. We looked at how, again, like I said previously, the games can provide content and language integration through CLIL, and then be used in the classrooms with real students. And then right now, we are after looking at all of these ideas and looked into the literature, we came out with our own games. So our partners created a lot of games, small games, big games. We created, like you're seeing, GUINEVERE Island, where you can go with your students and then practice English through questions and mazes, and also solving riddles in English. So it was I think it is a huge thing. So we have Second Life on EduNation, specifically space for the GUINEVERE project, and then we have the OpenSim thing at the island. The GUINEVERE island is basically on the OpenSim, and then you can go with your students, which as part of the field testing, we created games for our students, which are like, trying to escape from a house, by doing riddles, try to open gates, by answering questions, by finding the riddles and stuff. And our students are also right now sitting down in my classes to think about game design and to think about how they can use these games in their teaching. And I really believe that my students will come up with good ideas, and then they will use them with their students, and then the language, they can teach language much better, and of course with more motivation. So anyway, like you see, this is another extension to how virtual worlds could be used in the actual teacher training, because the teachers should understand the catchword gamification, but of course have a real outcome of this work, because there is a lot of stuff based on gamification, which is basically not linking to the outcomes of language teaching, but it's there. Because what I have observed in the course of this project, the GUINEVERE project, was there are technicians, there are teachers. The technicians know how to do the games. The teachers know how to teach the language, but they are not coming together. This is the basic thing that I learned. And because of this, we started doing joint programs, like the technicians from the computer science department, students, and then my students coming together, sitting down in focus groups, if you like, and then what they do is they create ideas. And one of these ideas is right now on the, I think it's on the Edunation. You can go and see it when two types of teachers or preschool teachers came in, pre-service teachers came in, one from computer science and instructional technologies department, one from languages, and then they came in groups. They discussed their ideas, and in the end of the day, we had a technician who made it a reality. And now we have this game both on OpenSim and on the Edunation, like I said. So you can go and see that yourself and play with it and understand how this cooperation brings real success in the environment. So, and also what we did, I think it was a month ago, we invited a school of 20 students from the 10th grade. These students came in. We pushed them into the environment, the virtual world, and for 2 hours they were crazy about going around the Guinevere Island and trying to solve the riddles for 2 hours. In the end, we have to say, "Hey guys, but it's time ticking, so we have to go and finish this anyway." And but it was a huge success. We really saw that these kids are very much into these games, and they were really enjoying what they were doing in this field testing with us. We also do a lot of Minecraft stuff, which is another virtual world for kids this time, and another. I think it's University of Central Lancashire who's doing a lot of activities with real students, learning French, learning other languages in this environment, building for them, and this kind of stuff. I think it is almost time for my presentations, because I also would like to have some questions. But before completing my presentation today, I would really like to thank the following pioneers of virtual worlds for me, who really inspired me in those years, and who are also partners in both CAMELOT and right now the GUINEVERE project. And these people are Heike Philp, very long presentation, thank you. Christelle Schneider, I think she's a fabulous person who does a lot of work on virtual worlds, and she really helped me learn a lot, and she gave me the strength to do more with my students, always talking to her, asking for advice, and as well as Carol Rainbow, who helped us a lot with building and other things, and gave us a lot of ideas during and while we were setting up our own Istanbul University OpenSim. Sorry, not OpenSim, but the Second Life Sim. So thank you, all these people, and thank you everyone for listening and being here today. It was a huge and great experience for me as well. So thank you.